Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our channel. Today, I'm going to be talking about a particular case of disinformation. And I like this case because it's fairly recent. It only happened a couple weeks ago and is still continuing. And it's also very specific about a particular person who died, and people were blaming the COVID vaccine for that death, and which is kind of a current topic that's interesting to discuss. So, what I want to show you in this video is where it started, how the disinformation started, what was fact, what was fiction, and then also share some of the places that the disinformation was spread, on in the comment section of online newspapers, on Twitter, and also on Facebook. And then I'll show you some of the stories and the comments, both for and against sort of this conspiracy on this boxer's death. So on the screen you can see a picture of Marvin Hagler. He died several weeks ago. He was a famous boxer in the 1980s, American boxer. So he received the COVID vaccine several days later. He died at the age of 66. So let's start with this this Instagram post up here. And this Instagram post was written by a friend of Marvin Hagler, a guy named Tommy Hearns, who was also a famous boxer and one of Marvin Hagler's opponents in the 80s. And he posted, "A real true warrior, pray for the king and his family. He's in the ICU, the intensive care unit, fighting the after effects of the vaccine. He'll be just fine, but we could use the positive energy and prayer for his full recovery." Okay, so this is his friend. I don't know how well they knew each other, but he posted this on Instagram. You can see 1,500 people liked it, because these guys are, I guess, sort of celebrities in the sports world. So lots of people are paying attention to these accounts. And he's saying that his friend Marvin Hagler is in the hospital fighting the effects of the vaccine. Okay. And then the next thing that we have here is we have a story in the Daily Mail, which is a UK newspaper. I think it's one of the most popular newspapers in the UK. I wouldn't say it's the most reputable newspaper, but they have some good stuff, but also a lot of gossip in there. And you can see that this, here's the story right here. 976 people commented on this story, which seems like a lot. So there was a lot of interest in this story. And here's the headline: Undisputed middleweight champion Marvin Hagler dies at age 66 after one of his biggest rivals, Tommy Hearns, that's the guy who wrote this Instagram post right here that started the whole controversy. So he said he was in the ICU fighting the effects of the vaccine. Here's some of the information about Marvin Hagler. He was 66 years old when he died. He was famous in the 1980s and in 1980 through 1987. He was inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame. And then his wife announced his death on Saturday, claiming it was unexpected. Okay. And then earlier on Saturday, another professional boxer, Tommy Hearns, said Hagler was in the ICU fighting the after effects of the vaccine. Okay. So I won't show you the whole story, but you can see that there's 976 people commenting on it. So let's look at some of the comments that people wrote on this story. So we have another one: killed by the vaccine. The fact that more than 500 people have died in the US alone is being suppressed by the media. Of course, Facebook is saying reports of vaccine deaths are misleading because no causal effect has been proven in most cases. Nice try. The vaccines are clearly killing people. And then actually you have somebody down here refuting them. Let's see, more than 500 against 400,000, not the sharpest tool in the shed. So sometimes people reply to these kind of, blatant disinformation, but you can also see that 115 people gave it a like and 22 people only gave it a dislike. So probably more people were agreeing than disagreeing. So here we have another one. Someone is lying here. It is Daily Mail's journalistic duty to discern the truth. Did he have chest pain and trouble breathing and die at home? Did he die in the hospital ICU? Daily Mail sure blew that one. And yeah, don't talk about what killed him. Nah, Big Pharma doesn't like that. So we have the Big Pharma conspiracy in here. and the people they advertise who clearly don't either. The vaccine is dangerous. Okay, so we see our first anti-vax comments here directly on this Daily Mail story, which came out 2 weeks ago approximately. Okay, so remember this: when the government tells you there is no evidence of any issues with vaccines, these statements are nothing but word trickery. Okay, and then more and more and more detailed information about why we shouldn't be trusting the vaccines. And then this one is kind of an interesting comment here. They say, okay, was it Pfizer, Moderna, the Johnson & Johnson, AstraZeneca, etc.? That's important to know. Okay, and then someone else replies, doesn't matter, all the same, experimental with the mRNA. And then someone says, stop with the anti-vax nonsense. This is complete falsehood. But you can see the difference in likes. The anti-vax comments get way more of the green arrows than the red. Okay, and this one kind of telling them that they're spreading disinformation got 70 dislikes there. Okay, and now we're going to go over to Twitter. So all I did in order to find these sort of trending topics on Twitter was to search for Marvin Hagler and vaccine, and you could see for yourself that there are a lot of different threads here on Twitter with people commenting. Most of them starting with posts here sharing the original Daily Mail story or similar stories. So some of them were like this one right here. Maybe the death of someone famous will wake up the vaccine death deniers. Lockdowns, masks, vaccines do more harm than good. How many more people have to die? Okay. And then what else do we have here? Finally, do your own research on COVID-19, the masks and the so-called vaccines. So no animal or human trials. They are experimental and dangerous and untested. Hank Aaron died. Hank Aaron was another African-American athlete, also fairly old, who died, and they say after receiving his vaccine. Marvin Hagler died from the shots. Please do not take these shots! Exclamation point. Okay, so they're using Marvin Hagler's death and other African-American sports celebrities' death to say that it must mean that the shots are dangerous. Okay, let's look more over here. The government, controlled globalist pushed COVID-19 vaccine does not provide immunity, does not eliminate the virus, does not prevent death, does not guarantee that you won't get it, does not stop you from passing it on to others. Hashtag just say no. Okay. Okay, so this one is quoting the original story here, but we know that the Daily Mail story actually just was based on conjecture from an Instagram post from his friend, not from a doctor, but they're direct quoting. They're saying from the quote, effects from the vaccine and died. So that was originally in the newspaper article, but they took that direct quote just from his friend who wasn't even there at the time, right? So they're using those direct quotes and saying that that's a fact, that he died from the effects of the vaccine. Suddenly dies shortly after getting COVID vaccine. Old boxing rival Thomas Hearns said marvelous Marvin Hagler was fighting the after effects of the shot. So people are referring back to that original Instagram post by his friend. The fittest man in the world dropped dead last week, and it still continues. Okay, so another link to a news story that was based on that original Daily Mail story. So Thirsty for News is probably not a very reputable website, but other news sites are taking that information from the Daily Mail article and using that to create their own newspaper articles or online news articles, which are saying that he died from the after effects of the COVID vaccine. Okay, so here we have a little bit more of a broad anti-vax sort of conspiracy. As of last night, 16 countries refused to use the AstraZeneca brand. Are you aware of all the deaths and disabilities after the vaccine? We know that for sure because these people posted that they just took the vax. Marvin Hagler, dead. Larry King took the vax, dead. Many more. I think it says many more to come. Okay, so people are using Marvin Hagler's death as an example of people who died, and then now they're relating it to this AstraZeneca vaccine, even though we have no idea which vaccine he took. It's relating Marvin Hagler's death to taking AstraZeneca. So it's kind of getting the disinformation is kind of piling on here. So first Hank Aaron and now Marvin Hagler have transitioned from this plane shortly after taking a COVID vaccine, two absolute titans in the black athletics. Y'all see any white icons die from the vaccine yet? So now we have sort of a racial element added in there because he was African American. So they're saying that why are all these black celebrities dying, but there are no white celebrities dying from the vaccine? So maybe there's a larger plot and a more sinister plot at play here, that the vaccine is targeting African Americans. Okay. So you're telling me that Hank Aaron and Marvelous Marv both took that vaccine and both ended up gone, okay, after 2 weeks, but they had nothing to do with it? And then we have a reply down here. I'm going to say this one time and hear me. Clearly, media hasn't said anything about steam inhaler treatment or natural remedies to fight this, because if it worked, there would be no need for the vaccine or big pharma gaining in the way that they're doing. Okay, so again, we have this reference to big pharma, the conspiracy by drug companies to either keep people sick or to give people vaccines so that they can make money. Okay. And then here we have another one that focuses on race. Yeah, bro, if it's confirmed Hank Aaron and Marvin Hagler died after taking the COVID vaccine, then older black people shouldn't get it, period. Okay, so again, reintroducing the racial element to the vaccine disinformation. Okay, continuing on, we have some more tweets here. These are replies to the previous tweets I showed you. And these are people who are trying to be sort of the voice of reason and fight against the conspiracy theories and the disinformation. So we have someone saying, according to the statement released by his wife, Hagler died at home. She makes no mention of vaccine complications, which is true. His wife, when she released the statement, there was no mention of the vaccine. Okay. And then here's someone saying the people who use Marvin Hagler's death to push their anti-vax bullshit should be ashamed of themselves. All right, so even there, here's a quote from Snopes.com. Now is not the time to talk nonsense. That's Hagler's widow in response to the rumor. And then here's another one that says Tommy Hearns, that's the boxer who wrote the original Instagram post, is not a doctor. He's a boxer. Okay. False. Marvelous Marvin Hagler was not murdered by the COVID-19 vaccine. He died of natural causes, and his wife says this was unrelated to an inoculation or to a vaccine. Okay. And then here's somebody who's just kind of questioning it. Well, his family have released a statement saying he died of natural causes. So which is it? So they're kind of questioning because they're seeing both the information saying that he died because of the vaccine, and then also the information from his family saying he didn't. And then this one down here, they say, if you have proof that vaccines do more harm than good, then show it. To date, you have not shown us anything credible. Okay, so kind of a demand for evidence that's saying that the vaccines are actually harmful. Okay, so here's the one of the posts where Hagler's widow said that it wasn't time to talk nonsense and that he did not actually die from the COVID vaccine, but they didn't release why he died. But she said that it was an unfounded rumor, and this was also posted on the Snopes.com, which is a website and Twitter account where they try to debunk disinformation and fake news. And then you can see underneath here, there's lots of different comments. And then, so for example, she's been silenced. So people even think that that's a conspiracy, that his wife was silenced in order to not spread the information about how the vaccines kill. So she's been silenced. And then we have a little GIF here. She got paid. She got paid off maybe by the pharmaceutical industry, by the vaccine industry, in order not to talk about it. And then over here we have a Facebook post, and this was underneath. I believe this wasn't the Daily Mail, but maybe the Washington Post, another American newspaper. where they posted the story, and then an update on the story. There were several subsequent newspaper stories about it, and this one you can see is another running commentary of people going back and forth on whether it was disinformation or not. Okay, thanks for watching.